You guys are under some fire. What does the industry do now?
Well, I think, you know, the bottom line is we want to make sure that we speak clearly and that our government and our public health officials speak clearly about what's really going on. The fire is being caused by what you were just referring to as these illnesses and disease, and that's what's really attracting a lot of attention. But what you didn't hear from the former speaker, but you did hear from the FDA, is that the root cause of these problems are not nicotine-containing products, but what they're really focused on are illicit black market THC products. And we immediately have told everybody that nobody should buy products off of the street. But we have a big concern, which is that without a clear message coming out from our public health officials, they're conflating all vaping or the use of e-cigarettes with nicotine with street-bought black market THC products. And that's it's dangerous not to send the appropriate warning, especially in this context. So this is a significant...
Tony, we've seen a number of reports, though, that indicate while certainly that may be one of the culprits, it's not clear that that is the only culprit. I mean, to our last guest's point and others, and I don't know if you'd agree, we don't know yet what is causing some of these illnesses, do we?
We don't know the full details, but we do know enough, according to the New York Department of Health and the FDA, which put out clear warnings which said that it's the THC products that people should stop vaping. That is the FDA statement that they put out on Friday evening. And as far as the New York Department of Health goes, they did their findings and their research, and they put out their statement last week, which said that what they found was this vitamin E acetate oil, which is being used to cut into THC wax that's extracted from the cannabis plant, and it's used to cut it to make it more soluble, perhaps more vapable. But they found that in only the THC products, and they didn't find it in any of the nicotine products. So yes, you are correct. We don't know the full answer yet, but we have a clear indication as to where they are going. And so while we reserve judgment, if you don't properly warn, then you're sending the wrong message. And if you don't tell people about the right warning, then they're going to continue to perhaps use that product. But what's really important here is we do have a large industry that's just been threatened by this ban on flavors. And the confluence of flavor bans and what's been happening recently, there is no connection. Dr. Michael Siegel, who's a Boston Health public health professor, just came out and said there is no relationship between e-cigarette flavors and the stories that we've been hearing in the press recently. And because your viewers are business-oriented, it is important to know how big this market is and what does it mean to public health. The fact of the matter is that we did a study, and there are almost 14,000 vapor companies in the United States. Almost 12,000 of those are retail vape shops, oftentimes mom-and-pop shops, and they sell a wide variety and a diverse product range of flavored vapor products to adult smokers. You take those flavors off of the market precipitously, and what will happen is those shops will shut down. We're talking about a total economic impact of 166,000 jobs, 70,000 of which are direct retail jobs. You take those products out of the market, there is no business model for people just selling a tobacco flavor. And the real harm here is the fact that those consumers that are buying those products from them will have two options, both bad and worse. The first option is that they go back to smoking. And that's not what we're saying. It's what the FDA said in open court in June. What they said in court was that dramatically and precipitously removing vapor products from the market will lead to an increase in smoking. And the worst case is that it leads to more black market problems, because that is what the American consumers have said they will do. They'll go to smoking or go back to the black market. And that's been affirmed by public health experts that wrote a letter to the FDA, Attorney General Tom Miller from the state of Iowa, who submitted that findings to the FDA about how they have to rethink their policy.
And so I think that we're all in agreement that obviously this does threaten the business of e-cigarettes. That is the problem, and that's what we're trying to get at. But I think what the White House is trying to say is, look, this is a public health problem, and they're very concerned with the flavors being attractive to teens. If a quarter of the country's high school students have admitted to vaping in the last 30 days, that's the problem I think they're trying to address. So what do you say to that? I mean, it's hard to argue that a menthol or a mango flavor is not attractive to a teen, whether they were a smoker before or not.
Yeah, I think the way we address it is what we talked about the last time that we were on this show, that I was on this show. I mean, we implemented our marketing standards in 2017, gave them to Commissioner Gottlieb in 2018, encouraged them to enforce aggressively on marketing issues because we think it is important. But people get really confused when they talk about flavors. Number one, you need to understand, and what science shows us, is that fruit flavors, beverage flavors, things of that nature are helping adult smokers quit. Adult smokers are not interested in tobacco because that's what they're trying to move away from. And that is why they rely on a wide variety of flavors. So we have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time in this country. And I truly believe we can do the same, by implementing a lot of tools.
It's funny you say that because I'm not sure the smokers need bubble gum, right? I mean, quitting smoking is one thing, but do you really need creme brulee flavor? I mean, where is the line, Tony?
That's a great question, right? So there are a number of things that we can do in terms of regulating the way flavors are marketed, and that's exactly what we're talking about. You can control what packaging, you can control the labeling, you can control what products are called, but simply ripping them out of the marketplace serves nobody because ultimately, you and I know, everybody, I'm a teen, I'm a father with 3 teens, right? I know that teens do stupid things. Teens experiment all the time. And the numbers that we see coming from the CDC and the FDA and the NYTS survey generally show past 30-day use. Have you used the product? Have you experimented once in the past 30 days?
Right.
It does not mean it's not an issue, but we have to be able to address that problem without taking this tool away from adult smokers who are desperately trying to quit.
That is the